Alright, so thank you for watching. So by the title of this video you can tell that I am going to be changing my Evolve AT wheels over to the street wheels. But there are plenty of videos out there specifically by Evolve that do a great job of showing you the basics and fundamentals of what that process looks like. However, what I want to do is take it onto a more realistic or just average Joe perspective, because you know the guys over at Evolve, this is what they do full time. You know, that's their day job. So what I want to do is come at it from a perspective of someone who's never done it, because this will be my first time doing it. I've seen the videos a couple times. I actually just watched it beforehand. But what I'm going to do now is take my board here, which I have ridden over 1,000 miles on. And as you can see from this front wheel right here, you know, no squeeze, still full of air. This back one, however, you can see there's a lot of play. And then actually, if you look here, you can kind of make out that the inner tube is on its way out the door. Don't know how it happened yet, still have to, once I take it off and get this switched out, I'll look at the tire, see if it was a puncture or something. But regardless, I can't ride it. I don't have any spare inner tubes, which brings up the perfect time to try out the street conversion kit. Never opened it, so I'll open that up with you guys so we can both see what's in the box. Obviously, the website has a description, but let's see what tools they provide, if that'll be enough, or if I'll have to go into my own supply to make this all work out. But yeah, like I said, I've ridden over 1,000 miles on this board, so tires have gotten a little wear to them. And as you can see, my deck definitely has some love. I have been meaning to get to the street wheels at some point, never found a reason to, and I've been telling myself in the back of my mind, I guess I'll do it when I'm forced to, aka when I get a flat eventually, because I knew what would happen. Because when you deal with inner tubes, it's not a matter of if, but when. So this is that week, today is that day. I have the street kit ready. I believe it's supposed to come with some Allen keys to help you do the tightening as well as belts, whatever. But I'll open this bad boy up with you guys and then get these swapped off. But what I do want to do is I don't want you to watch the whole full-length video, because like I said, there's videos out there of how to change the process, and I think it'd be kind of boring, honestly. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut this and then do a time lapse. That way you get a more realistic impression of the time and effort it takes to actually change these wheels out without having to sit through watching the whole thing or fast forward. And then I'll kind of do a recap at the end and kind of tell you the issues that I had, maybe different for you, or it may be the same. But either way, you'll end up with a better impression of what it actually takes to get these wheels converted from AT to street. And then maybe once I get the new inner tube, I'll do another video of street back to AT, as well as you can see, this is bad. So I need to do that relatively soon. So that'll probably be another video coming your way. So if you have some questions or were wondering about the maintenance side of an electric skateboard, specifically with Evolve, then this is the right place to be for the next few weeks. Thank you for watching, and I'll go ahead and open up the street conversion kit box real quick, just so we all know what's in here. And then from there, I'll cut and go into I'll read a little bit and then go into what it actually takes. So, all right, wheels, 2 fresh belts, 2 gears. I don't remember what size these are. I want to say they're like 36s. These are bearings and speed rings, and more bearings, speed rings, and then new covers. So most importantly to note is that you will need Allen key, hex key, whatever you want to call it, to get into the belt covers. So I didn't get any in my kit. I was under the impression that they did come with it. Actually, hold on, let me, before I go off on a tangent. So it didn't come with any in the conversion kit, but let's see if I have my original Evolve box. Let's see if it did. Okay, so stand corrected. So if you still have your T-tool, there is a key there. So that's where you can find that. If not, you can just check online, and they do tell you what the specs needed are. for the bamboo and carbon individually. So it is here, and so you do have all the tools you need, technically speaking, to do it. I also did notice that there are no instructions in here, so pretty much, unless you had some experience, only real way to do this other than take it to a skate shop would be to just look it up online. So I know a lot of us don't like to read instructions before we get into stuff anyway, but it would have been nice to have as an option, as a reference, rather than having to continually rewind to watch the video online. So I'm actually gonna, since there aren't any instructions, I plan on reading them for this video. So I'm actually gonna cut right here, rewatch the video on YouTube that Evolve provided to get another quick refresher, and then I'll jump back in with the time lapse of like what it actually takes to make this conversion happen. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching. So it's done. Got all 4 wheels traded out. Here's the old stuff. Gotta clean up the rest of that. You may have noticed that I did use the drill. If you use your Y tool, you can do it. It'll take a couple seconds longer. I have a drill, so I went ahead and decided to use it. Something to note that I've noticed in the videos, so when Evolve does their videos, they always use one of these wheels to help stabilize the board. But what you can also do, once you have a wheel off, because you don't really need it on the first set because you have those giant AT wheels as a solid base, but once you get a wheel off, you can use your AT wheels to help stabilize the board. So you don't have to rely on using the skate wheels if you don't need to. And I'm sure the same will go vice versa. Once you, if you're putting the AT wheels on your board, you can use 1 or 2 of those AT wheels. Once you get this 1/2 on, you can switch it over, and then you don't need anything else because the AT wheels have such a solid base. You don't necessarily need that extra support. But if you do, then again you'll have an extra wheel laying around. But I would recommend personally using the AT wheels over the street wheels because you just get a wider base, so you get more stability out of that. So that's one thing that I did notice. On top of that, you may have noticed in the video that the second rear wheel took forever for me. So what I would recommend as a pro tip is when you go to take the wheel off, before you tighten up those last 2 screws for the motor, once you have it like locked into place for the tension. So once you have it where you want it, and you do the first 2 that you're recommended to do, basically grab the belt or the T, whatever you want to call it, or the belt drive. Grab the belt and the belt drive. Get a nice firm hold on it. Try to grab some of the truck if you can too, just so you have a base, and then pull the wheel off. Because if you notice, it took me like 3 attempts to get it off, and that was because it kept coming off as a unit. So then every time it comes off as a unit, then you have to go back through, untighten the motor again, redo the tension. So when I finally had the light bulb snap for me, was I just grabbed the entire thing and then pulled the wheel. That way you don't have to do it as many times as I did. And then front wheels are super easy. I will have to go take this out for a test ride to make sure everything is done appropriately. But if you just take a quick look here, you know, wheels are spinning, it's in safe mode. Hold on, let me. Alright, there you go. That's something more used to what you're hearing. And then they stop pretty close to each other. You can go back through if you so choose and are more anal than I am, and get those to stop closer by adjusting the tension. I believe the one that stops the soonest is tighter. So if you want so for instance, let's see, this one stop first, which means that the tension is a little bit tighter on that one. It's not, so I'm touching it, and it's not super noticeable just by the touch. But I've also seen online in the forums that it's not a huge deal if they stop relatively close to each other. If there was a larger gap, like if you get like a 4/1000 or something out of it, like less than a half second, if you boom. close to like a full second or more, then that's where I'd be so inclined to go back through and actually get the tension a little bit tighter. I may still go back and do it later after I do a test ride, and just to see, because that will determine like the uniformity of your braking and acceleration. So I will ride. If it feels a little funny, then I'll go back through and adjust it. But for now, I'm comfortable with it just because I've been seeing a lot of people who have been working on changing out their belts and whatnot, and I've asked questions about it. And a lot of people who are either work for Evolve or brand ambassadors, just people who've been riding for a while, have all said that it's not the hugest deal if they don't both perfectly stop at the same time. That's a comfortable tolerance for me, so I'm not super worried about it. Like I said, if I notice any performance changes, then I will go back through, because it's a pretty quick fix. Other than that though, yeah, any opportunity, if you plan on changing out your wheels often, I'd recommend getting a longer Allen key, because this little nub is a little difficult. If you ever watch any of their videos, they have the super long ones, or they have the drill bits, which will cut down dramatically on the time that it takes to do this conversions, or just even to change out belts or wheels or whatever, if you're not doing a full conversion. So if you're going to be taking these off a lot and putting it back on, I'd recommend investing in a longer Allen key. But the one that they provide clearly works. Actually, I will commend them in the new video for the GTR series. They only use the Y tool and the tool provided. They do a little speed ramps in between to kind of cut down on some of the time. But again, like if you're gonna be doing it all the time, I'd recommend something longer. All in all, this took me roughly 40 minutes to do. And that was with me stopping, turning to the TV, watching some YouTube videos for reference, and then coming back and, and then just some general trial and error. So I'd say easily, if I go to do this in the future, it would probably take closer to 20 to 30 minute range, depending on some stuff. Because like as you may have noticed, I also cleaned out some of the belt drive, because I had some pine needles in there from some times where I've gone off road, or just whatever, just debris that has gotten caught in there. I don't want that to stay in there and affect the wear, or just get caught, whatever, and any issues that could come with. So there'd be different variables that will affect the amount of time you take. But I would say for someone who doesn't do this all the time, or even for your first time, I'd expect 40 minutes to an hour for your first one. But then going forward, after you know what to do, especially with the front two wheels, those can be done, in seconds. And then it's the back set of wheels that it's more intricate, because you have to take it off the belt cover. You have to adjust the motors. You have to do the belts. Do the test to see how many speed rings you're going to need. But then, once you do that and you have that kind of muscle memory formed and you have a general idea, like I said before, I would expect 20 to 30 minutes on average for you to swap out. And again, that can be faster if it's something that you're doing all the time. And then the other thing that I will say that I noticed is that once you do the first side, the second side is easier, because you know what you do to one side, you're going to have to do to the other. Other than that, all in all, it's a lot simpler than I expected. I think it would have gone a little bit faster if I had a couple more tools for convenience. But again, they provide you with everything you need and can get the job done. So if you're like me and very worried about trading out your, converting your set from either AT to street like I did, or if you're thinking about doing street to AT and worried that it's going to take you a lot of time and you'll mess up, I'd say don't worry about it, because if I can do it, you can definitely do it. Thanks for watching, and I will give you guys an update later on how I feel about the AT versus street, since this will be my first time riding the street on the Evolve. I've rode street setups in the past, you've seen my other videos, but like I said, this will be my first time riding street on the Evolve, and then be on the lookout for some other maintenance related videos, specifically this deck conversion, because we are clearly in need of some love here, because this has been my main form of transportation for the last 3 months. So wear and tear is just a part of the game. So thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one. See ya.